Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on Akashvani. This is Saira Mujtaba, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Nepalese counterpart Pushkamal Dahal Prachand hold talks in New Delhi. Both countries signed 7 agreements in various fields. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and his South African counterpart review progress of strategic partnership, agreed to commemorate 30th anniversary of their diplomatic ties. India's GST collections rise 12% to 1.57 lakh crore rupees in May this year. In a significant demonstration of long-range combat capabilities, Rafale fighter jets of Indian Air Force carry out drill in the Indian Ocean region. US House of Representatives passes debt ceiling bill. And Afghanistan's Ministry of Public Health says 27% of Afghan citizens regularly use tobacco. And now the news in detail. India and Nepal on Thursday signed 7 agreements in various fields following delegation-level talks between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Nepalese counterpart Pushkamal Dahal Prachand in New Delhi. The agreements were signed in several areas including trade and commerce, cross-border petroleum pipelines, development of integrated checkposts, hydroelectric projects and payment mechanism. During the deliberations, both leaders reaffirmed their commitment to boost the Indo-Nepal relationship in areas of economy, energy, infrastructure, education and people-to-people contacts. Both Prime Ministers jointly flagged off the Indian Railway cargo train from Batsnaha to Nepal Custom Yard. They also inaugurated an integrated checkpost between Rupaidiha Nepalganj and Sanoli Bhairava. They also laid the foundation stone of the Motihari Amlekhuj oil pipeline Phase 2 project. The two leaders also initiated the construction work of the Gorakhpur New Batwal substation 400 kV across cross-border transmission line. Addressing a joint press conference, Prime Minister Modi said he had given the HIT formula for India-Nepal relations, which stands for Highways, I-Ways and Transways, during his first visit to Nepal in 2014.
मैंने कहा था कि भारत और नेपाल के बीच ऐसे संपर्क स्थापित करेंगे कि हमारे बॉर्डर्स, हमारे बीच बैरियर्स न बने। ट्रक्स की जगह पाइपलाइन से तेल का निर्यात होना चाहिए। साझा नदियों के ऊपर ब्रिज बनाने चाहिए। नेपाल से भारत को बिजली निर्यात करने के लिए सुविधाएं बनाई जानी चाहिए। आज 9 साल बाद मुझे कहते हुए खुशी कि हमारी पार्टनरशिप वाकई में हिट है। पिछले 9 सालों में हमने अनेक क्षेत्रों में कई उपलब्धियां हासिल की हैं।
Prime Minister Modi said, today many important decisions have been taken to further elevate this partnership. Mr. Modi said, today the transit agreement has been concluded, which will enhance connectivity between the two nations.
हमने नए रेल लिंक स्थापित कर फिजिकल कनेक्टिविटी को बढ़ाने का निर्णय लिया। साथ साथ भारतीय रेल संस्थानों में नेपाल के रेल कर्मियों को प्रशिक्षण प्रदान करने का भी निर्णय लिया गया है। नेपाल के सुदूर पश्चिमी क्षेत्र से कनेक्टिविटी को बढ़ावा देने के लिए शिरसा और झूलाघाट में 2 और पुल बनाए जाएंगे।
Mr. Modi also said India has set a target to import 10,000 megawatt of electricity from Nepal in the coming 10 years.
आज भारत और नेपाल के बीच लॉन्ग टर्म पावर ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट संपन्न किया गया है। इसके अंतर्गत हमने आने वाले 10 वर्षों में नेपाल से 10,000 मेगावाट बिजली आयात करने का लक्ष्य रखा है। फुकोट, कर्णाली और लोअर अरुण हाइड्रो इलेक्ट्रिक परियोजनाओं पर हुए समझौते से विद्युत क्षेत्र में सहयोग को और बल मिला है।
The Prime Minister said they have decided that projects related to Ramayan circuit should be expedited to further boost cultural and religious ties between the two countries. Speaking on the occasion, Nepal Prime Minister Pushkamal Dahal Prachand lauded India's economic and developmental transformation under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
The relation between Nepal and India are age-old and multifaceted. These relations stand on the solid foundation built on the one hand by the rich tradition of civilizational, cultural, socio-economic linkage, and on the other by the two countries' firm commitment to the time-tested principle of sovereign equality, mutual respect, understanding, and cooperation.
Nepal's Prime Minister Pushkamal Dahal Prachand also called on President Draupadi Murmu at Rashtrapati Bhavan. Speaking on the occasion, President Murmu said, "Sister city agreements and improvement in financial connectivity can boost tourism between the two countries." The President emphasized the need of reviving the spiritual tourist circuit to promote people-to-people contact and tourism. Ms. Murmu said India looks forward to a positive agenda in India-Nepal bilateral relations to take the age-old partnership to newer heights. She expressed confidence that this visit would further strengthen the strong bond between the two countries. India's Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Kwatra on Thursday said that Nepal occupies a very special place under India's Neighbourhood First policy. Briefing media after bilateral talks between Prime Minister Modi and his Nepalese counterpart, Pushkamal Dahal Prachand, Foreign Secretary said India's relationship with Nepal is unique. He said the discussions and outcomes covered the entire spectrum of bilateral cooperation.
The discussions and outcomes cover the entire spectrum of bilateral cooperation, including political, economic, trade, energy, connectivity, infrastructure cooperation, and also development partnership.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and his South African counterpart agreed to commemorate the 30th anniversary of their diplomatic ties in a fitting manner in Cape Town on Thursday. In a tweet, Dr. Jaishankar said that they also reviewed the progress of the strategic partnership between India and South Africa. The discussions also held upon collaborations within prominent forums such as BRICS, IPSA, G20 and the United Nations, where both the countries have a strong tradition of close cooperation. Dr. Jaishankar also met Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister Faisal bin Farhan on Thursday. In the meeting with the Saudi Arabian Foreign Minister, both leaders expressed their commitment to advance bilateral cooperation through the Strategic Partnership Council, reinforce strong ties between India and Saudi Arabia thus. They also exchanged views on the global situation. Dr. Jaishankar is on a two-nation tour of South Africa and Namibia from Thursday. This is the first visit by an External Affairs Minister of India to Namibia. India witnessed a substantial increase in its goods and services tax or GST revenue in the last month, reaching a total of 1,57,090 crore rupees. The figure noted a 12% surge compared to the same month last year. The government has settled 35,369 crore rupees to CGST, 29,769 crore rupees to SGST from IGST. The total revenue of the centre and the states in the last month after regular settlement is 63,780 crore rupees for CGST and 65,597 crore rupees for SGST. And now, in today's Hotspot section, we bring you a commentary on India's new generation navigation satellite.
India has successfully launched its first satellite in the second-generation navigation satellite series. The NVS-01 satellite that lifted off on May the 29th marks a significant step in advancing India's navigation technology. It was deployed into space on board the powerful geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle GSLV-F-12 from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota. The satellite will strengthen the navigation with Indian Constellation Navic system developed by the Indian Space Research Organization ISRO. Navic is India's homegrown alternative to the GPS navigation system, which is of the United States. The NVS-01 is the first in a new generation of upgraded regional navigation satellites. The NVS series of satellites will sustain and augment the Navic with enhanced features. This series incorporates L1 band signals. Additionally, to widen the services, it will provide accurate and real-time navigation. According to ISRO, the L1 navigation band is popular for providing position, navigation and timing services for civilian users and for interoperability with other global navigation satellite system GNSS signals. For the first time, the payload carried an indigenous rubidium atomic clock developed by the Space Applications Center, Ahmedabad. According to ISRO, it is an important technology that only a handful of countries possess. Earlier, scientists used imported rubidium atomic clocks to determine date and location. The satellite is powered by 2 solar arrays capable of generating power up to 2.4 kilowatts and a lithium-ion battery during the eclipse. The independent standalone NAVIC is aimed at removing dependence on foreign satellite systems for navigation service requirements, particularly for strategic sectors. India's 2021 satellite navigation draft policy had stated that the government will work towards expanding the coverage from regional to global to ensure availability of NAVIC signal in any part of the world. ISRO developed the system to meet the nation's rising need for better location, navigation and timing, particularly with regard to the civil aviation industry and the defense sector. The network would provide real-time positioning and timing services over India and a region 1,500 kilometers beyond the Indian boundary. Some of the applications of NAVIC include terrestrial, aerial and maritime navigation, precision agriculture, location-based services in mobile devices and marine fisheries, resource monitoring, surveying and scientific research, time distribution and synchronization, and for dissemination of life-saving alerts. NAVIC is designed with a constellation of 7 satellites and a network of ground stations that operate round the clock. NAVIC is not in wide and regular use in the country, primarily because mobile phones have not been made compatible to process its signals. India has been pressing manufacturers of smartphones to add compatibility. The new satellite will join India's fleet of navigation spacecraft covering the Indian subcontinent and neighboring regions. It will augment coverage provided by global navigation satellite fleets operated by the United States, Russia, China and Europe. The mission life of NVS-01 is expected to be more than 12 years. Earlier, this system was known as IRNSS, Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. NAVIC is akin to the American GPS, the European Galileo, the Russian GLONASS and China's Pei-2 and can be used to track locations. India has over the years expanded the use of NAVIC. The first of these satellites, IRNSS-1A, was launched in 2013 and the last one in 2018. The network provides more accurate domestic navigation and its use would benefit the economy. India wants to reduce dependence on GPS. India says that NAVIC is as good as GPS of the United States in terms of position accuracy. The Global Positioning System or GPS can guide a user within 20 meters of the location, while NAVIC is more precise. It has a position accuracy of 5 to 20 meters for general users and 0.5 meters for military use. This precision is crucial for the armed forces, like in the use of guided missiles. Following the success of NVS-01, ISRO is busy preparing the launch one of the biggest missions of the year, Chandrayaan-3, the moon mission in July. Chandrayaan-3 is a follow-on mission to Chandrayaan-2 to demonstrate end-to-end capability in safe landing and roving on the lunar surface. The mission is aimed at demonstrating critical technologies to land the spacecraft on the south pole of the moon in less than 2 months. Chandrayaan-3 would be followed by a series of critical tests for the Gaganyaan mission.
This is Akashvani giving you the world news. Welcome back. 4 Rafale fighter jets of the Indian Air Force carried out a drill in the Indian Ocean region in a significant demonstration of their long-range combat capabilities. The exercise was carried out a few days ago, but the IAF shared the details on Wednesday. The exercise is seen as important in the Indian Ocean region. The Indian Ocean serves as a strategic bridge with the nations in India's immediate and extended maritime neighborhood. The national and economic interests of India are inseparably linked with the Indian Ocean. The role of India in the region is evident in its vision of Sagar, which means ocean and stands for security and growth for all in the region. The mission lasted 6 hours and involved mid-air refueling of the Rafales that have significantly boosted the capabilities of the Indian Air Force. The Indian Air Force inducted the Rafale fighter aircraft in 2020 only, a few months after the standoff with China started and was quickly operationalized. Rafale is a 4.5 generation aircraft and has helped India regain its supremacy over the Indian subcontinent skies with long-range air-to-air and air-to-ground missiles, along with advanced radar and electronic warfare capabilities. A two-day G20 consultation on climate change and disaster risk reduction, making sustainability a way of life, began in Madhya Pradesh's Amarkantak on Thursday. Addressing the inaugural session, Union Minister of State for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Ashwini Chaubey, said that if India is emerging as a young country, the youth should also be involved in thinking about the future. Therefore, G20 consultation is being organized. He said that there cannot be a better place than Amarkantak to think about protecting nature, because nature and culture meet here. Mr. Chaubey said that the G20 countries have 85% participation in the global gross product and 65% of the world's population is also in these countries. He said it is a matter of pride for the country to be the chairman of such a group. The focus area decided by India for the G20 Summit 2023 will be implemented by the world. 19 delegates from 7 countries are participating in this consultation and will discuss the topic in different groups for 2 days. More than 400 delegates from across the country are also participating. Youth 20 consultations will provide a platform for open talks, presentations and interactive sessions focusing on the challenges faced by the youth and creating a roadmap for their development. In the Indian Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, a suspected Pakistani intruder was shot dead by alert BSF troops along the international border in Samba district during the wee hours of Thursday. The incident took place near the Manguchak border outpost in Samba sector. Alert BSF troops noticed suspicious movement of a person who crossed the international border from Pakistan side in Samba area. He was challenged by the alert troops, but the intruder kept advancing towards the border fencing. The troops opened fire, killing him. This is the second such incident along the India-Pakistan border in the Jammu division in 2 days. On Wednesday, Army foiled an infiltration bid along the LOC in Poonch district with the arrest of 3 terrorists along with a huge consignment of arms and narcotics. The third India-Vietnam Maritime Security Dialogue was held in New Delhi on Wednesday. Senior officials from both sides and services concerned with maritime affairs participated in the dialogue. The two sides discussed ways to sustain a secure maritime environment conducive to inclusive growth. They also reviewed maritime cooperation initiatives and avenues of reinforcing international and regional mechanisms for comprehensive maritime security. The 27th meeting of the Working Mechanism for Consultation and Coordination on India-China Border Affairs, WMCC, was held in person in New Delhi on Wednesday. Joint Secretary East Asia from the Ministry of External Affairs led the Indian delegation. The Chinese delegation was led by the DG of Boundary and Oceanic Affairs Department of the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The two sides reviewed the situation along the LAC in the western sector of India-China border areas and discussed proposals for disengagement in the remaining areas in a frank and open manner. Restoration of peace and tranquility will create conditions for normalizing bilateral relations. In order to achieve this objective, in accordance with existing bilateral agreements and protocols, they agreed to hold the next round of senior commanders meeting at an earlier date. The two sides agreed to continue discussions through military and diplomatic channels. In the United States, the House of Representatives has approved a deal to allow the U.S. government to borrow more money, just 5 days before the world's biggest economy is due to start defaulting on its debt. The Fiscal Responsibility Bill to raise the debt limit and cap government spending in the U.S. was passed by a wide margin last night in the House. 314 votes were cast in favor and 117 against it. The bill will now move to the Senate for a vote before U.S. President Biden can sign it into law. The government is forecast to hit its borrowing limit of $31.4 trillion on Monday. In a tweet, Mr. Biden said, the House took a critical step forward to prevent a default and protect America's hard-earned and historic economic recovery. Afghanistan's Ministry of Public Health said that 27% of Afghan citizens regularly use tobacco, of which nearly 3% are women. This statement came on World No Tobacco Day, which was observed around the world on Wednesday. As per the ministry, more than 45% of deaths in Afghanistan are caused by non-infectious diseases. According to the Chamber of Commerce and Investment, annually nearly 1,000 containers of tobacco are imported to the country from various ports. As per the WHO, every year 8 million people in the world die due to the use of tobacco. In Pakistan, the Association of Electronic Media Editors and News Directors, or AMEND, has expressed concerns about the disappearance of journalists in the country. This was reported by a Pakistan daily as the plight of journalists in Pakistan continues to remain a grim concern. AMEND also warned against undeclared censorship and unjustified government and state institution intervention with media operations. The association held an emergency meeting on Tuesday to discuss challenges faced by the media in the country. Attendees of the meeting lamented the censorship imposed by the government and other state institutions. Meanwhile, Pakistan continues to remain one of the most dangerous countries for journalists. According to a report, journalists in Pakistan have been killed by militants, insurgents, and unidentified state actors. The common thread in these killings is that truth and justice are elusive and killers walk free while families look for answers. In Sri Lanka, Power and Energy Minister Kanchana Vijayashekhara has announced a price revision in petrol and other petroleum products. The minister tweeted that the price revision will be applicable from Thursday. Price of the common 92-octane petrol has been reduced by 15 Lankan rupees to 318 rupees. Kerosene and industrial kerosene have become cheaper by 50 and 60 rupees. The reduction in price for common 92-octane petrol, kerosene and industrial kerosene is expected to bring some relief to the public as it will alleviate the burden of transportation and cooking costs for many households. However, the 95-octane petrol and super diesel are now dearer. The price of a litre of 95-octane fuel has been increased by 20 rupees to 385 rupees, while super diesel now costs 340 rupees with a 10 rupee increase. The price of diesel has been kept unchanged. The revision was expected as the Lankan rupee has strengthened against the US dollar by over 20% so far from its lows, bringing down the imports cost of fuel. The Defence Ministry has approved a proposal of Ladakh administration seeking the resumption of air travel facilities for civilians of the Union Territory in the Indian Air Force aircraft. Lieutenant Governor Brigadier B.D. Mishra in a tweet has said, the request for travel of Ladakhi citizens in IAF aircraft has been approved by the Government of India. As per the Defence Ministry order, civilians belonging to Ladakh can travel to other parts of the country through 3 airports, that is Leh, Sois and Kargil. Civilians will be provided the facilities to travel against the vacant seats of the aircraft with the payment of airlift charges, which would be notified from time to time. The move comes after 3 years of discontinuation during the COVID pandemic. And now in the Indian business market, key domestic indices on Thursday closed with marginal losses amid mixed cues from global share markets. The Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange ended below the 62,500 mark, while the Nifty at the National Stock Exchange settled below the 18,500 level. A report from the business desk.
The Sensex declined 194 points to finish at 62,429. The Nifty also slipped 47 points to end at 18,488. Asian stocks ended mixed. Japan's Nikkei gained 0.8% and Singapore's Straits Times Index rose 0.2%, while China's Shanghai Composite ended flat. On the other side, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index fell 0.1% and South Korea's Kospi declined 0.3%. European markets were trading up in intraday trade. Oil price steadied in intraday trade. Brent crude was trading at $72.70 a barrel. Back home, gold prices at multi-commodity exchange for June contracts were trading at around 59,900 rupees per 10 grams. On the other hand, silver was trading at 71,620 rupees per kilogram for July contracts. And in the forex market, the rupee appreciated 31 paise to close at 82 rupees and 41 paise against the US dollar. Rajesh Lake for World News, Akashvani.
In badminton, Indian badminton ace Lakshya Sen progressed to the men's singles quarter-finals, while Saina Nehwal was knocked out in the round of 16 of the women's singles at the Thailand Open 2023 in Bangkok on Thursday. Lakshya Sen defeated the fourth seed and reigning All England Open champion from the Republic of China, Li Shifeng, 21-17, 21-15. He will now face Lang Junhao in the last 8. Kiran George was the other Indian to join Lakshya Sen in the men's singles quarters. After beating China's Wang Hongyang, George will take on Francis Thoma Jr. Popov for a place in the semi-finals. Earlier, Olympic medalist Saina Nehwal went down to China's He Bingqiao in the women's singles round of 16. This was Saina's first loss to the Chinese shuttler in 3 meetings. Top-seeded men's doubles pair of Chirag Shetty and Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy were also ousted from the BWF Super 500 tournament. Double Olympic medalist PV Sindhu and World Championship silver medal winner Kidambi Srikanth had faced losses in their opening round matches. And now let's take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Wall Street Journal reports NATO faces pressure on clear membership path for Ukraine. The Guardian writes Zimbabwe outlaws criticism of government before August elections. Le Monde reports US House votes for debt ceiling bill to avoid default. The Japan Times reports North Korea's failed launch puts focus on US-Japan-South Korea cooperation. South China Morning Post writes China seeks stronger economic ties with Saudi Arabia beyond crude oil as Middle East seeks ideal partner. And Financial Times writes Eurozone inflation falls to lowest level since Russia invaded Ukraine. And now a quick look at the headlines once again. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Nepalese counterpart Pushkamal Dahal Prachand hold talks in New Delhi. Both countries signed 7 agreements in various fields. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and his South African counterpart review progress of strategic partnership, agreed to commemorate 30th anniversary of their diplomatic ties. India's GST collections rise 12% to 1.57 lakh crore rupees in May this year. In a significant demonstration of long-range combat capabilities, Rafale fighter jets of Indian Air Force carry out drill in Indian Ocean region. US House of Representatives passed a debt ceiling bill, and Afghanistan's Ministry of Public Health says 27% of Afghan citizens regularly use tobacco. And now, before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by artists from Indonesia. With that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.